Hi, today I'm going to share 4 things to keep in mind when you're designing your raised bed garden. First, and probably the most important, is location. You want to look for an area in your yard that gets at least 8 hours of sun. Here in Arizona, too much sun can be a problem. You can always add shade, but you want to look for an area that gets at least 8 hours of sun because you can't add sun. So look for that sunny spot in your yard that gets direct sun, and hopefully you can put your garden there. So you've picked your location. Now let's talk about the size of raised beds. You never want to have a raised bed be deeper than 4 feet because you want to be able to reach in to the middle from both sides so you can reach easily into the center of the garden. They can be really any length. Just keep in mind that you'll have to walk around each of the beds to get to the other side. So a couple things: no wider than 4 feet. They can be any length. Depth. You want to think about the depth of the beds. It's important to have enough room for that root system to grow and develop, to get a nice kind of ecosystem going with your soil. You don't want soil spilling over the beds. Soil is often the most expensive part of adding raised beds, so you want to make sure that you have a deep enough bed. I like these beds. You want to have a bed that's 18 to 24 inches, to me, is the ideal depth for a raised bed. So you've got the width, the length, the height. Okay, now for placement of the beds, it's tempting to use all the space and just fill it up with raised beds. And when you have the empty beds, you think that's going to be just fine. But plants grow quickly, and they're going to oftentimes kind of crowd in that space. You also want to think about if you're going to need things like a wheelbarrow to get in and out of your garden. So be sure and keep enough space between the beds. 2 to 3 feet. 2 feet is okay. 3 or 4 feet is great. I think 3 feet is a nice kind of happy mediums where you have enough space, but you're still maximizing the available space for your raised bed garden. Now to talk about the material. You want to choose the best material that you can. Research different materials, see what's available in your area, look at your options. It's best to get the very best that you can afford. You don't want to replace beds every few years. That's definitely not ideal. You want to use untreated wood. You don't want any kind of chemically treated wood because those chemicals can leach into your soil. So you can use woods like pine and things, but an untreated cedar is going to last a lot longer, and replacing garden beds is definitely not what you want to have to do in a couple of years. So aim to get the best kind of material that you can afford. I added these deep-rooted cedar beds from Gardener's Supply, and I have loved them. I'm going to tell you a few things that I really like about these beds. First off, they're made with untreated cedar in Vermont, which I'm sure is a little bit cooler than it is here in Arizona. And the other thing I really like is how simple they are to put together. They last a long time. These aluminum corners are going to last and keep your bed in place a long time. The corners are often the most vulnerable parts of your bed, and so that aluminum is going to just keep them in place. The other thing I like about these gardener's beds is their depth. They're nice and deep. Fill them up with soil. Great garden bed. So there you have it. We've got the 4 things to keep in mind when you are adding raised beds to your garden. Thanks so much.